You know, this graphic in particular, when we start getting into these bigger weather events, comes in handy so often. 24 hours from now, several of these you are not going to be able to see a thing. Wind-driven snow, near whiteout conditions. And this is an important point to highlight here, because you're going to hear us use the word blizzard. You've probably heard it already all over social media. That will indeed be true, but it's a selective blizzard. Some parts of our region will not deal with blizzard conditions. And note, we don't have that word quite here in the Rochester area. We fall somewhere in between two sides, two elements of where this forecast is going to play out. This part's easy. It's all rain. Moisture lifting from south to north. This is all in advance of the center of low pressure, which is rapidly deepening right now. Over the next 24 hours, this storm is going to what we call bomb out. That is a technical term, deepening fast enough over a short enough period of time. It is explosive development is basically what's happening here. When that usually occurs, you get temperatures that are doing some weird and wild things. Warmth out ahead of it and biting cold air on the back side of it. In that in-between is a cold front, and that cold front has eyes on us in the morning. I want to take this hour by hour here for the Rochester area in the morning. If you've got travel plans through 9 a.m., as long as you're not driving west, I think you are okay. I'm going to recommend keeping an eye on that car thermometer. They're not perfect, but they're going to be close enough to let you know that the numbers are rapidly falling. I would figure by 10 a.m. we have now dropped below freezing and probably into the 20s. All the rain that we're going to have tonight through early tomorrow morning, it will not have enough time to evaporate off the roads. So unless the roads have already been treated, you're going to have some slick spots with some drier air coming in here. You get a break in Rochester before this starts to fill in. Lake Erie, that's how strong the winds are going to be. We'll be producing the band of lake effect snow that gets all the way to the west side of Rochester as temperatures are dropping into the single digits, wind chills well below zero, and an all-out full-fledged blizzard from Buffalo to Batavia into parts of Orleans County in the mix there too. Now let's talk wind gust potential out of this. This is going to be one of those things, unlike the snow. All of us will deal with strong winds. But if you are west, that is where the winds will be strongest and also where the chance of power outages is going to be the highest. Let's go now to the snow side of things. Feet of snow in the Buffalo area with the blizzard conditions. I mean, you got to feel bad at some point for folks in Buffalo. They are getting the worst of the worst out of this. But snow totals will still be elevated here in Orleans and Genesee. Then there's us in Rochester. Now, this is where things get so interesting around here, and I think it's worth breaking these graphics down just for Monroe County to showcase how different tomorrow and Saturday are going to play out from the west side to the east side of the same county. This is our wind map here. If you're watching us from places like Hamlin, Hilton, Sweden, that's where the power outages are probably going to be most maximized here. Winds gusting to 65 miles an hour. East side, Penfield, Pittsford, Fairport. There's going to be some chance of outages, but you're probably looking at 10 miles an hour less than the west side of town. The biggest difference here in the Rochester area will come with how much snow we get. I'm going to tell you now, good luck getting a chance to measure this with how strong the winds are going to be. But if you are on the east side, look at this. Barely anything. Some of you are still going to have green grass by the time this is all done. Then on the west side here, we start picking up on several inches, and we may do more than half a foot on the far western extent out of this as you start getting closer toward Orleans and Genesee County line. This is a huge discrepancy in terms of snowfall and wind. Best thing you can do, reconsider travel over the next few days. Start prepping. Find ways to stay warm. If you lose power, it could be out for a few days, but know where you live. If you're on the east, much less of a deal than on the west. We'll be back after the break.